Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And today I want to talk about eggshells and how they have helped me and a couple other uses besides what I'm going to talk about. A while back I did a video on making your own supplements, and I did another one a little more recently about making a multi-mineral supplement, and that is in using eggshells to do so. And I'm going to go ahead and direct you to that video. You can find it right up here and how I make those. And I'll show you right here is just one of my multi-mineral supplements, homemade. And that is made from the eggshells. And I don't actually take them like this very often. I tend to take mine, as I said in that video, I usually add it to my homemade herbal extract that I use my homemade vinegar and my homegrown medicinal herbs and make some, well, not just medicinal herbs, but just good herbs and veggies and stuff like that that I grow and dehydrate, and then make a morning herbal extract that I take as a vitamin supplement. And I like to add the eggshells, the powdered up eggshells, to that. But in the past couple months, I've been kind of lax and forgetting to take it on a daily basis, and I started noticing all of a sudden my teeth were getting dark. Now this isn't dark as in staining from the outside, because I could tell this was coming from the inside. They were starting to turn very dark gray, almost black from the inside out, and it was very disconcerting to me, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I mean, I brush my teeth really well. I use my own homemade tooth powder, which has magnesium and calcium in it, but I also brush some days with just coconut oil alone. And so it wasn't that my teeth were clean. They were very, very clean, but they were darkening from the inside out. And so knowing the age I'm at and what I'm going through at this time, as most women in their 50s are going through, and that is menopause, it dawned on me that I might be not getting enough calcium and magnesium into my diet. And with me, especially since I cut way back on the amount of dairy I have, because I just find that I feel better if I don't have so much dairy. And so I wasn't getting that regular intake of calcium. And so then I really started downing the eggshells by taking them both morning and night, making sure I was getting it every day. And you guys are gonna think this is really gross, but I even got to the point where now I'll just eat half an eggshell in the morning and half at night. Sometimes I'll eat as much as 2 whole eggshells in a day. And within days, my teeth, the darkening of my teeth started lightening up and looking much better. My teeth, they're still a little bit dark on the ends here at the very tips of my teeth compared to how they used to look. But in just a matter of a few days, I started seeing huge changes, and I couldn't believe it. Patrick couldn't believe it either. And so I knew that is exactly what was going on, is I was deficient in the amount of calcium that I was getting. Now, a lot of people know about menopause, and I want to reach other people besides just menopausal ladies, because this is really important to all people. A lot of people understand that calcium is important to good, strong, healthy bones, but what they tend to not realize is that you must have magnesium with that calcium. Now, I did have somebody who commented on one of my videos saying that she'd heard that you were supposed to take them separately. Well, no, you really need to be getting your calcium and magnesium together, because it is important that they work together. Taking calcium supplements by themselves, and if you take too much, especially if you're not taking the magnesium with it, can cause you to get too much calcium into your body, into your diet, and then you can later end up with some kidney failure and other serious health issues. So it is important to have that magnesium in tandem with the calcium, because the magnesium regulates it, as well as helps with the intake of the calcium properly into the body. Incredibly important they're both together, and that is why with my tooth powder I use both together. Now that's the only way that I buy calcium and magnesium, and the only reason I buy it in its powdered form is to use it in our tooth powder so that we could be using those minerals more from the exterior. But it is also important that you're getting them into your diet through various means. Now, eggshells are just one way to do it. I started doing this because I felt like, wow, I'm really deficient, so I was just really taking a lot, and I'm not worried about getting too much of either calcium or magnesium because it's in a pure and natural form, and it's together. Because eggshells are high in both calcium and magnesium, as well as some other great minerals and supplements that are great for your body. So if you just can't stand the idea of using the eggshell powder in a liquid or adding it to something and drinking it down, or especially not just chewing on an eggshell, I like doing that because I feel like I'm kind of really working the minerals into my teeth and gums as well. But whatever. You can go with the supplement, making your own supplement. I highly recommend veering far away from taking any kind of man-made, other type of man-made supplements that you buy from a company, especially in a calcium alone form. If you must do that and you don't have the time or whatever to make your own like this, then you need to look for a supplement that is high, that is both calcium and magnesium together, and not in a tablet form. It needs to be in a capsule form, because you're going to get it's going to be much healthier. You're going to get much more out of that supplement than you would in a tablet form, because tablet forms are they're just really bad news in my opinion all the way around. I say stay away from tablets, period. However, if you are a vegan and let's say you're concerned about your calcium intake, especially if you're a vegan and you're my age and you're going through menopause and you're knowing you need more calcium and magnesium, I suggest looking into some good mineral-rich foods. Or let's just say you can't even stand the idea of the eggshell at all. So a couple of things are, I'm going to list off a few foods to you, some that are high in both calcium and magnesium, and one of those is almonds. So you can make an almond milk, or just eat straight almonds, or take that almond paste and the leftover from making the almond milk, and then add that to your breads and whatever that you're using, and just get as much of the almonds into your diet as you can if you like almonds, because it's rich in both calcium and magnesium. So what a great way to get both. I still haven't talked about the other. I have one other really great benefit about taking the eggshells I'm going to get to in a minute, but I got a little ahead of myself. I want to talk now that I'm on the food, I want to talk about those. So I did write down these things so I wouldn't forget. A few other things that are rich in both calcium and magnesium would be figs, Swiss chard, and spinach. So those are some things you can get more of in your diet. And I'm thinking, okay, well, obviously I'm not getting as much of those things as far as like the greens into my diet, even though I use the mixed dried greens blend. I tend to not eat dinner or breakfast. I kind of eat middle of the day, so all the stuff I tend to add the mixed greens to. Mr. Rain is getting that more than I am. I usually just kind of have my own things I fix for myself in the middle of the day. I do eat dinner sometimes with him, but not always. So, and then just not having the access in the winter, late fall, winter, and early spring to those good fresh greens right out of the garden, then obviously I'm not getting as much of the calcium and magnesium in that way. So anyway, those are just a few of the foods that are rich in both. Now, here are some that are rich in just calcium alone, and that is kale, collards, sesame seeds, bok choy, and broccoli. And now some that are rich in magnesium: avocados, Brazil nuts, cashews, flaxseed, molasses, and black beans. Think of ways of mixing some of these different vegetables together, eating these things in tandem side by side. Make yourself a salad with lots of kale and collards, and sprinkle some flax seeds or crushed up cashews or whatever in there. And don't forget the Brazil nuts. And Brazil nuts are also high in selenium, which is great if you have thyroid problems. That selenium is very important to your thyroid, so there's a double whammy there. Now, some other things, I mentioned the bok choy. So while I'm at it, this is a finished jar. I just pulled it out of the refrigerator and I've already eaten some out of it. I'm using one of my Fido jars from Elizabeth. Thank you again. And so I made a big batch of bok choy kimchi, which I like bok choy the best in kimchi. It's my favorite. So anyway, that's what that is. And I'll be having some of that for lunch here in a bit. Again, if you're vegan, these are just some of the ways. Now, if you're not sure about some other foods, maybe you're not crazy about some of the things I mentioned, there are lots more that you can look into. So just do a search. All you have to do is type in foods rich in or foods high in whatever nutrient it is that you're looking for. Now, I want to go on to the other thing about the eggshells that have helped me. I've noticed, I started taking it because what I saw in my teeth, which I wanted to add, means if I'm seeing it in my teeth, that means it's happening in all my bones throughout my body. And this is what causes brittle bones and osteoporosis in women of my age. It's not getting enough calcium, because when we're not getting the estrogen that we need to make all that do what it's supposed to do in the bones. And also when we have hot flashes, calcium is one of the first things that gets leached out, flushed out of the system through a hot flash. So it needs to be replaced. Now, here was the surprising result of the eggs. Besides it was surprising enough seeing the difference in my teeth in just a short period of time. But even more surprising is I noticed at that same time, my hot flashes almost completely stopped. I'm still having them, but they're very, very mild and very brief. I can handle them. Whereas before I started doubling up on making sure I was getting plenty of the eggshells or calcium, magnesium into my diet, I was having several hot flashes a day, and they were horrible, and they were lasting for a long time. And I started realizing that, wait a minute, there's a correlation here between the amount of hot flashes and the degree that I'm having and me doubling up on the eggshells. So sure enough, I did a little research and come to find out magnesium does, getting plenty of magnesium in your diet. Obviously you don't want to OD on anything, but if you're getting it naturally through your food or even through eating eggshells, which is, might be the extreme method, you're getting what your body needs, and then your body, as a woman my age, your body doesn't need to do all that. Now here's another thing for women or men who are not in menopause. Obviously, if you're a man, you're not. But is that low calcium, some other signs are sleep disorders. And if you're having a lot of problems sleeping, you will just start making sure you're getting good amount of magnesium into your diet through natural sources. And that was the other thing I noticed, is that I have been sleeping very well. Instead of waking up way too early in the morning and then falling asleep at night while I'm trying to crochet or work on projects, and I'm falling asleep with a hook in my hand, I'm actually able to sleep solid through the night. And I can still actually stay up until 10 o'clock if I want to without falling asleep in the middle of a project. And then the minimalization of the hot flashes. And there are many other, and I forget what they are, I should have wrote them down. There are many other side effects that you will notice. Brain fog is another one if you're not getting enough calcium in your diet or enough magnesium in your diet. There's so many more. So look up magnesium deficiency and find out what the symptoms are, and you may be surprised. And then look into these foods, consider the eggshell supplement, because it is at least an easy, fast way to really start getting that in there if you think you're really low, and start doubling up until you can get to maybe that time of the year where you're getting more healthy greens that are rich in all these great minerals out of your garden, or build up your supply of things like your almonds, and learn more about what you need in your diet, or what foods you can take to really get these good minerals in your diet. So again, I've had just some really excellent results just from the eggshells alone. And obviously it is not the most pleasant thing, but I've got to where I don't mind it anymore. But I can be pretty hardcore on stuff, and if I think I need it, if I think my body needs it, or then I will do it. You know, I will take it no matter how awful it seems. And I find I get used to stuff pretty quick, especially when I see the results in both, you know, internally, I see it externally, and by the way I feel, then I'm going to keep doing that. And going back to the whole supplement idea with this, I mean, these are free. I get these from my own chickens. And so, you know, I use the eggs, I save the eggshells, I wash them up, and now I've got a free supplement. And if I don't have to make the capsules, then I don't have to buy the empty capsules, so I'm saving even more money there. So that's why I like mixing it with, I'll mix it and mix the powder in with teas, you know, my nightly teas and stuff, or like I said, just eat it straight, and it actually doesn't bother me. So anyway, just some things to look into, and I was hoping that, oh wait, one more thing I wanted to share, and that is when you start looking this stuff up, be careful of websites that are big pharma funded, because here was the interesting thing. After I started learning that what I thought was true about the magnesium and hot flash relation, I went to, you know, I was looking up, and sure enough, I was finding testimonials by other ladies that said the same thing, and I was finding some facts about the magnesium saying the same thing. But then I stumbled upon a couple of big pharma funded health related or medical related web pages that were saying that they both said the same thing, that magnesium doesn't help with hot flashes or any other menopausal symptoms. Well, it's a lie, because I'm standing here to tell you it's true. I know, because it worked in me. And reading the other things that I read, it's true. And obviously big pharma funded web pages are going to tell you that, because they would much rather see you get on their toxic and highly you know, cancer causing and so on and so forth hormone replacement therapy. And I have been doing, I want to tell you this, people, is that I have not done any hormone replacement therapy. I have no plans on ever doing it. And even with my emotions and anything else, the only symptoms I really had to deal with were the hot flashes. That's really been it. And I don't, you know, our bodies were made intelligent. We were made to stop, as women, we were made to stop producing estrogen at a certain age for a reason. Constant exposure to it, exposure to too much of it, is what can increase your chance of getting things like breast cancer. So taking a hormone replacement therapy after you're to that point where you shouldn't be producing estrogen anymore is just, you're just going to look at having more health issues down the road that you're going to have to deal with. And so, and then now, of course, getting the calcium and magnesium into my diet more regularly on, you know, in a little heavier doses, the hot flashes have just, I mean, they're totally bearable right now. I don't mind them at all. They're just completely bearable, the few that I have. And so this can be done without big pharma drugs. Okay, so I just wanted to say that, and I hope that you people find this helpful, especially you ladies out there that are my age, and don't just trust me alone. And I do put a disclaimer in my box. I am not a doctor. I don't pretend to be one. I don't play one on TV. I don't have a degree in nutrition or health and wellness, unless you call experience a degree, because that is where it's at. It's through my own studies from the time that I was a teenager, and here I am in my 50s. I've been learning about this stuff all along the way, and through my own experience and what has worked for me, and that's what I'm sharing with you. Now keep in mind, some things will work better for some people than others. Maybe eggshells are not going to be the answer for you, and maybe you're glad. So then look at other foods and stuff that are rich in your minerals that you need to be healthy and strong and happy. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.